plate on the frame?
Yeah. I should have brought my,
Mats?
yeah, I'm going to go back and get them.
So we had a little bit of a problem with this car. It's a Hyundai Santa Fe 2011 all-wheel drive sport. And we have a lot of groaning and making weird noises out of the front wheel here. And we've pretty well figured out that it's the wheel bearings, because we did a road test with the vehicle, and as you toss the vehicle's white from left to right, the sound would change. So that's a good indicator that there's a problem with the wheel bearings. So now we're going to lift it up and we're going to see if there's any loose in the bearings. We've purchased the bearings and we're going to replace them. To get to the wheel bearing, which is this.
Which is what?
This here piece.
Okay.
We removed the caliper, the rotor, which is just on the floor over there. And now we're going to remove the tie rod in and remove the knuckle from the strut. And we'll undo the axle so that we can remove the whole thing, because in the back here, here's the bolt here that holds the wheel bearing. There's 4 of them, and we got to have access to them. And to get access to them, we got to remove the axle, because you can't get the bolt out with the axle there. So that's what we're going to be up to. So the cotter pin broke here. What we had to do is we took the nut off, and then we were able to drill it out. Now we'll be able to finish knocking this out and put a new cotter pin in when we put it back together. Because normally these here break, they're pretty hard to get out. They get rusted in there with the water and the calcium and everything, and very difficult to get them
And there she come off.
Yeah. So as you can see there now, we're separating the axle from the knuckle, which is, I'll show you if Audrey lets me. This is the axle, and this is the knuckle, and then here's the bearing. You can see it coming apart here. That's part of the noise that we were hearing on the road when we were driving. An awful lot of weird noises going on. So I think we were headed in the right direction, changing the bearing. We had a bit of a job getting it off the ball joint. This ball joint's finished as well. So we ordered a new table. We should get our new table in the next day or two. And then we'll replace that as well. So as you turn this, you can feel that it's hitting flat spots. It's turning and then it hits like a flat spot. It jams a little bit, lets go. So I'm quite convinced that this was a big part of the problem. As we pull it apart, we replace it. I think we made the right decision. Here's another piece of the bearing back here. You can see in here, that's the old rusty bearing. So now we're going to remove these 4 bolts, and we'll be able to replace the bearing. Now it's going to be to separate that from the hub.
What is that thing?
That's your speed, your sensor for the wheel, to tell you if the wheel is rotating for your ABS brakes.
Okay. So it's an important part?
Yeah, we actually need that. Hope it comes out without breaking. I need it. No, we're lucky that come out pretty good. It's not damaged.
It's just plastic?
Yeah, that's just plastic with a magnet basically in the end, and it reads it off of this. As each one of these pass in front of it, it knows that that wheel's turning or not.
Okay.
So now we'll be able to put the bearing in the hub on the workbench and work on it, or put it in the press to press that out. So that's what we're going to do next. So what's important here is you want to make sure where the bearing seats, it's going to resit back into here. That is clean so that it goes in nice and flush and doesn't end up crooked in there. So it's important to get this pretty clean. So I'm a big fan of anti-seize. I cleaned it all up and I put it all over the face here. And this piece should slide just right in there. There you go. That's a good fit. Now I'll put the 4 bolts in. We're ready to start putting it back on the car. So Audrey cleaned up all the bolts for me. Then she put anti-seize on them all for me. And when we put them in here, that'll help secure. If ever we have to disassemble this for some reason or other, it's going to be so much easier. Because it was pretty difficult to undo. So to get the bearing separated from the knuckle, I had to use a cold chisel. I got it in here and I hammered it with the hammer. And then I turned the bearing sideways and I hammered the back of the bearing here with the hammer. And I finally got it loose. So I was able to free it up. So we're going to tighten this up. Keep going. So when you're tightening this up, a good practice is always tightening the necks so that it pulls it in nice and flush. That's that. So we have another bolt here to get out. Right here. We're going to try and loosen it off with the impact. And we took out the bolt in front over here. And once we get that one out over here, we should be able to remove the table.
It out?
Yeah, keep going. That. Okay.
There. Bolt out. Now we just took out the old table. Now we're going to put in the new one. Put it in here first.
I'll try and get up in over here first, maybe.
Oh yeah, that side. Okay. Okay, like that.
There we go. We'll get our bolts ready and we'll put them in.
No. Do you want? So on our bolts, we're going to put anti-seize all over to make sure these bolts don't stick if we ever have to change the table again for some reason. Well coated. It goes in like this.
No, the other way.
This way?
Yeah.
I'll have to go see the hole. No,
We'll have to line
not
up.
in line.
Yeah, you have to line up your bolt. Maybe get yourself a punch.
Okay, it should go up.
Almost in.
Gotta wiggle your thing. There we go. Bolt started.
Yeah.
Can let go.
Yeah. Take your 19 in the impact
Where's the 19?
on that socket right there.
This one?
Yeah.
From the bottom or the top?
From the bottom. Still recording?
Yep. I have to get down because I can't hold it up. I'm not strong enough.
Okay, that's good. Well, there's one in.
See if I see. There's the nut. And we'll tighten that up with the impact also. Good.
Go again. Another one. Good. And one more. Another one. Good. That's it. So just to show you part of the problem here, you can see how easy that wiggles. You hear it rattling. When you come over here, this one you can't even move it.
So that was the big problem.
That's the big problem. That's why we're replacing it.